What's up, guys? It's your boy Dave back with another episode of Grow Goodies. So today we're gonna talk amendments. My buddy over at Photosyntech, he really talked about when I posted that chitin video the other day. He was talking about this is the sort of content that I, as a chef, should really be focusing on, and I agree with him. Sometimes the problem is sometimes as a chef, your time is limited, and it's annoyingly so. And I really do love gardening, all sorts of gardening, every kind of gardening, and growing my own food. I have my whole life. That's a little about me. If you go over and follow my other channel, Chef David Santos, you can see my love of food, and you can hear some of the story, or go to my website and you can see it there. But anyway, this video is going to focus on something fun that you can do at home. A lot of us make teas, and obviously I would say this is more for organic growing and no-till and things like that. I don't know enough to know if you can do it, apply this in other aspects. Hell, I don't even know if you can do it in this, but we're gonna try anyway. But a lot of us, when we're brewing teas and stuff, we use molasses. Some people water in molasses with each watering. It's a good source of potassium, good sugars for your microorganisms. So it's it's a good product. To me, in my opinion, it's a good product to put in there. And what if you don't have molasses, right? Or what if you want to introduce something else? Diversity in the garden is hugely important across all gardening scales, right? If you plant the same thing into the same ground year after year after year and don't do anything else to it, you see your crops depleting over and over and over again. There's a lot of methods to create diversity in soil, right? Changing plants is one, cover crop is another, but the things you put into the dirt, if you will, also can be one of them. So exploring avenues to find different sources of, say in this case, potassium, can be a lot of fun. And so when I was thinking about molasses and putting molasses into my teas, I started thinking about what other things have have potassium. And one of the things that get coming up is actually raisins. 1.5 ounces of raisins has about 320 milligrams of potassium. So I was like, cool, what else does it have? So it's got iron in it. Oh, well, plants need iron too. They may not need in extreme levels, but in small amounts, iron is really good. Then it also has calcium in it. I'm like, well, calcium, the more diverse ways we can figure out how to introduce calcium into our grows, the better, really. I mean, I do the chitin. So the shrimp shells and the lobster shells and stuff have calcium. I do tons of eggshells. And now I'm going to introduce a little bit of calcium through raisins. So in this diversity and again, I'm not a scientist, and someone could, in the comment section, probably speak more to this. Sometimes I believe getting the same nutrient, like calcium or phosphorus or whatever, it may not be always the same. Like getting it from X, it might be this available. Getting it from Y, it might be this available, or more readily available or less readily available. So I think that's, in my opinion, I think when we diversify where we're getting certain things from, I think it can also just create layers of availability and accessibility, to the plants. So I personally really enjoy introducing different ways. I think it helps promote plant health. It helps promote, more importantly, our soil health, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do my own vermicomposting. Diversity is the key. And so with the raisins, what I'm going to do, instead of using molasses, I'm going to puree these raisins with filtered water, and we're going to put them into our tea that we're brewing with worm liche. And this is going to be our sugar source, as well as a potassium source, a small iron source, and a small calcium source. So I think doing things like this is really going to change my gardening and the way I think about the gardening. But for today, we're going to do the raisins. I've got, it's about a cup of raisins. This is about 3 ounces of raisins. So in this, there are anywhere between 900 and 1,000 milligrams of potassium. That's pretty great, in my opinion. I don't know, I don't want to overdo it. I also don't want to create a situation where like I'm all of a sudden, just feeding sugar to my plants. So I believe I am erring on the side of caution when I do this right now. So I'm going to puree this with probably 1/4 of distilled water, get it really fine, and break it down a lot, and then put this right into the worm tea, or the worm liche tea, and we're gonna brew this 24 hours till tomorrow morning. This is the bonus video, or the bonus addition to this video, I should say. So, we eat a ton of eggs, and I just save all the shells. And before I put anything wet in here, I wanted to do this in a dry environment, is make the eggshell powder, the grit. This stuff, you just bake it, gets super brittle. You kind of can really crush it. It almost sounds like glass in a lot of ways. So this doesn't take long. Crush it down to make a little room. Very important you bake these first, just to kill any sort of microorganisms, and then it also makes them crispy and easy to pulverize as well. So, and we gotta, we were just talking about diversity. I've never looked up the makeup of eggshells themselves, but we've got brown eggs, white eggs, and we got duck eggs. Because I did an event, again, as a chef, I have access to a lot of fun things. So I did an event, and I used duck eggs in this event. And so I have these really amazing duck eggs. And that you can tell that the shell is indeed different. Especially even the inside, the membrane inside is much thicker. The shell is a little more like leathery. So I'm sure the makeup of that egg, although it might be very similar to just like a regular chicken egg, maybe there is something else in it that makes it, that texture, that consistency. And then for the brown eggs, they're brown, so I don't know if everybody knows this, but brown chickens lay brown eggs, essentially. But maybe there's something in that pigmentation that adds or is different than what a white egg would be. Maybe it's not, but who knows? Again, diversity. So this is a VitaPrep. This is a very powerful blender. I suggest everyone buy one of these. They're, Christmas is coming up, so they're like, you can get like kind of a refurbished one for like $2.75, but brand new VitaPrep, and you can get an old model, like an older model, but these things are the most powerful blenders on the market, and you won't be sorry you own one. They're fantastic. So you want to be careful with this. You don't try not to breathe this smoke in too much. You can't help it a little bit, but you know, I'm gonna put a mask on. I always do this by the windows just to make sure there's nice air circulation, but I'll also just throw on a mask really quick. Just to be safe. You don't want to breathe too much of this in. And then just pour it right out. Perfect. So we got eggshell, and I use this eggshell for both the plants and in a vermicomposting because worms need grit to break down their food in their gizzards. So just put that aside and you're good to go. Then, since, you know, we're just gonna go right into this, there's no reason to wash it. I'm gonna put our 3 ounces of raisins in. And our water. I'm just using filtered water that's been out filtered for about 24 hours now. So you just want to make sure that you got the chlorine out of there. Well, for me, it's chlorine, but I like to just filter water if I'm going to do stuff like this, keep the microorganisms alive. Then just puree it. So I pureed this. I mean, you can see the color here. Right. This is one of the reasons why VitaPrep is so awesome. I pureed this and let it go for about 1.5 minutes, 90 seconds or so, give or take, and it really breaks everything down. It does use a lot of force, a lot of, you know, whipping, so this does get a little warm, but it's fine. Like that's okay for this process. Totally fine. Because we're not looking for the microorganisms that are in here. You're looking for the sugars and the potassium and everything else. You obviously don't want it to get too hot, but it's okay if it gets warm. And that actually, the warmth actually helps break down the sugars and the fibers of the raisins. So it's actually a good thing if it gets a little warm. And now if you're brewing like in a tea bag or something like that, you can just pour this right into the tea bag. Just in case, if you don't have, you know, just because if you don't have a VitaPrep at home, which, you know, I understand a lot of people don't, you might end up with a little bit chunkier product. So, you know, it'd be good to put it in a bag. This way, nothing gets stuck in your sprayers or anything. But if you watch, again, we'll show you the benefit of the VitaPrep. So this is a fine mesh. See if we get it all in there. You know what, we'll switch over to the other one, just in case. Okay. Get the last of it. Okay. A little tap. And as you can see, that is the the magic of the VitaPrep, where that's it. This little tablespoon of, essentially what this is the skins, because the skins don't ever like totally break down, but everything, the sugars, the meat sugars, all are broken down into this. And then, you know, that's all you have left. That's why VitaPrep is king. And that's it. So you have this beautiful clear brown liquid. Again, sort of like in the molasses idea. Sugars, you know. Yeah, about a quart. Yeah, put a little bit more than a quart, barely. But, well, I guess I didn't put more than a quart because the raisins actually take up space. But we'll spill. But that's it. So now I'm going to put this in, let it brew for 24 hours, and call it a day. And don't forget, guys, if you like this video, you like this content, you're enjoying learning along with me, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Peace.